नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। हरे कृष्णा। टुडे वी कंटिन्यूing श्रीमद् भागवतम canto 2nd chapter, first step in God realization, shloka 20 and 21. Rajah tamah tamobhyam akshiptam
रजः तमोभ्यामाक्षिप्तम्
vimudam manah atmanah
विमूढं मनः आत्मनः
yat yachet dharanaya dhirah
यच्छेदधारणया धीरः
hanti yatat कृतं malam
हन्ति यातत्कृतं मलम्
yasyam sandharyamanaayam
यस्यां सन्धार्यमानायां
yoginah bhakti lakshanah
योगिनः भक्तिलक्षणः
आशु संपद्यते योगः
आशु सम्पद्यते योगः
आश्रयं भद्रम इक्षतः
आश्रयं भद्रम् ईक्षतः
रजतमोभ्याम आक्षिप्तम
रजः तमोभ्याम् आक्षिप्तम्
विमुढ़म मन आत्मनः
विमूढं मनः आत्मनः
यच्छेत धारणया धीरः
यच्छेतधारणयां धीरः
हन्ति या तत्कृतं मलम्
हन्ति यातत्कृतं मलम्
यस्यां सन्धार्यमाणायां
यस्यां सन्धार्यमाणायां
योगिना भक्तिलक्षणः
योगिनः भक्तिलक्षणः
आशु संपद्यते योगः
आशु सम्पद्यते योगः
आश्रयं भद्रम इक्षतः
आश्रयं भद्रम् ईक्षतः
रजतमोभ्याम आक्षिप्तम विमुढ़म मन आत्मनः यच्छेत धारणया धीरः हन्ति या तत्कृतं मलम् यस्यां सन्धार्यमाणायां योगिनः भक्तिलक्षणः आशु संपद्यते योगः आश्रयं भद्रम इक्षतः
रजतमोभ्याम् आक्षिप्तं विमूढं मन आत्मनः यच्छेतधारणया धीरः हन्ति यातत्कृतं मलं यस्यां सन्धार्यमाणायां योगिनः भक्तिलक्षण आशु सम्पद्यते योग आश्रयं भद्रम् ईक्षतः
Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One's mind is always agitated by the passionate mode of material nature and bewildered by the ignorant mode of nature. But one can rectify such conceptions by the relation of Viṣṇu and thus become pacified by cleansing by this system of remembrance and by being fixed in the habit of seeing all good personal conception of the Lord. One can very soon attain devotional service to the Lord under his direct shelter. Purport. Persons generally conducted by the modes of passion and ignorance cannot be bona fide candidates for being situated in the transcendental stage of God realization. Only persons conducted by the mode of goodness can have the knowledge of supreme truth. Effects of the modes of passion and ignorance are manifested by too much hankering after wealth and women, and those who are too much after wealth and women can rectify their leaning only by constant remembrance of Vishnu in his potential impersonal feature. Generally, by the impersonalist or monist are influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance. Such impersonalists think of themselves as liberated souls, but they have no knowledge of the transcendental personal feature of the absolute truth. Actually, they are impure in heart on account of being devoid of knowledge of the personal feature of the absolute. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that after many hundreds of births, the impersonal philosopher surrenders unto the personality of Godhead to acquire such a qualification of God realization in the personal feature. The neophyte impersonalist is given a chance to realize the relation of the Lord in everything by the philosophy of pantheism. Pantheism, in its higher status, does not permit the student to form an impersonal conception of the absolute truth, but it extends the conception of the absolute truth into the field of the so-called material energy. Everything created by the material energy can be dotted with the absolute by an attitude of service, which is the essential part of living energy. The pure duty of the Lord knows the art of converting everything into its spiritual existence by this service attitude. And only in that devotional way can the theory of pantheism be perfected. Success of mystic performances is achieved only by the help of devotional attitude. Pantheism, or the system of feeling the presence of the Almighty everywhere, is a sort of training of the mind to become accustomed to the devotional conception, and it is this devotional attitude of the mystic that makes possible the successful termination of such mystic attempts. One is not, however, elevated to such a successful status without the tinge of mixture in devotional service. The devotional atmosphere created by pantheistic vision develops into devotional service in latter days. And that is the only benefit for the impersonalist. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 12.5 that the impersonal way of self realization is more troublesome because it reaches the goal in an indirect way. Although the impersonalist also becomes obsessed with the personal feature of the Lord after a long time. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmlitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Tapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतम सावधूतम परिजन सहितम कृष्ण चैतन्य देव श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांच नमो ओम विष्णु पादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात देश तारिणे वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा। Today we continuing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto second chapter, the first step in God realization, and we try to understand shloka number 20 and 21. In this shloka, uh, they describe about the mind, which always agitated by the passionate mode of material nature and bewildered by the ignorant of mode of nature. How we uh, uh, become pacified by cleansing the dirty things created by them. That describing in this uh, pantheism, about pantheism, monist, and impersonalist also. And in 21 shloka, they describe about the system of remembrance and the habits of seeing all things, the personal uh, the conception of the Lord, and how we attain. That is also described in Bhagavad Gita 12.5. Prabhuji will tell us it nicely in detail. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhecha kripa sindhu bhecha patitanam pavane bhyo Vaishnavabhyo namo nam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji, for giving us this input and instinct. How there's the opportunity to transcend the material modes. While most people are talking about impersonalism, what is best is personalism. So similarly, Shukdev Goswami ji is here guiding Parikshit Maharaj and telling that passionate mode, that is Rajogun, is actually agitating the mind all the time. And because of that, we are always bewildered. And that bewilderance is actually towards the ignorance. So, if you have to come out of ignorance, then we first need to get out of the bewilderance, which has been started by the passionate mode of material nature. So, this all can be achieved the moment we develop and realize our relationship with Krishna, because that enables us to become pacified as it brings about the cleansing of the dirty things which are created by the passionate and the ignorant modes. And that is why Shukdev Goswami ji reiterates to Parikshit Maharaj that this system of remembrance, and by being fixed in the habit of seeing the all good personal conception of Krishna, he can very soon attend devotional service to the Lord and be under his direct shelter. So, what we are discussing in these slokas, and as rightly pointed about by Prabhupada ji in the purport, is the relationship between the three modes of material nature and the God realization. What comes out very easily from that the shlokas is that only those in the mode of goodness are eligible for true Krishna realization, God realization. Because those who are in the mode of passion and ignorance, they suffer from lust, greed, hankering after wealth, women,
वीडियो
and so
बंद
they remain far from transcendental
आठ बज
states.
गए हाँ 8 बज गए
And that is where the role of
अच्छा चेक
Krishna
डाउन कर
consciousness becomes all the more important. Because the materially entangled individuals, they can purify themselves only through constant remembrance of Krishna, especially his, to start with the impersonal aspect, which becomes the initial step, the first baby step towards the larger stage of knowing Krishna in his original form. This helps in cleansing of the heart as well as pacifying the mind from agitation, which is caused by the lower modes. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So impersonalism, however, has its limitations. Though it can become the stepping stone, it has limitations because most of the impersonalists, they are always influenced by passion and ignorance. They lack realization of the personal aspect of the absolute truth. And so they don't understand Krishna as he is. And if you cannot understand Krishna as he is, understanding Krishna's message as it is becomes really difficult. So actually the neophyte impersonalist, is being given a chance to realize the relationship of Krishna in everything, and that is enabled through the philosophy of pantheism. Because in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanamante. After many births, such seekers finally surrendered to Krishna, the Supreme Person. So pantheism is one of that mechanism. Pantheism means seeing Krishna in all forces of nature. And it becomes a stepping stone. But it is not devotional elevation, it is a stone towards that. When pantheism is combined with a service attitude, it becomes spiritually effective. In fact, a pure devotee can convert material energy into spiritual through devotional service. And that is the importance of devotional service. So it becomes important that this devotional service needs to be made aware to everyone. We have to do preaching to even pantheists and impersonalists. Srila Prabhupada has been using pantheism and impersonalism as entry points for teaching Krishna consciousness. Because true realization comes not from rejecting personality, but by recognizing and serving the Supreme Person, Krishna. So Krishna consciousness is actually just like a yajna. Like Krishna says in 4.24 of Bhagavad Gita, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahma eva ten gantavyam Brahma karma samadhina. So Krishna says a person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation of the absolute and that which is offered is also of the same spiritual nature. So, in full absorption in Krishna, everything becomes spiritual. The offering, the offerer, the process itself. And this is really Yajna. And it leads to Samadhi and union with Krishna. That is why Krishna consciousness is to be treated just like a Yajna. If you look at the modern social conditions, it is full of confusion. Everyone is deeply influenced by passion and ignorance, leading to moral decline, feminization of men, and reversal of natural roles. So, this confusion is leading to sense gratification far from spiritual elevation. And that is why we are facing so many problems. Prabhupada that is where comes into picture with his preaching brilliance. He was able to transform any philosophy, whether it is impersonalism, pantheism, into devotional conclusions. Even Kapila Muni's teachings to Devahuti, which we'll be learning in the third canto, 25th chapter, it emphasizes on personal realization through devotion. And this is something which even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he demonstrated, he gave us the example. Though he was misunderstood by impersonalists like Prakashananda Saraswati, the chanting and dancing were direct expressions of Krishna consciousness beyond dry philosophy. And that is why he got so much of acceptance all over the places wherever he preached. So devotional attitude is essential for any success, including mystic success. See, mystic success, mystic practices, pantheistic realization, that is seeing God everywhere. This can only succeed when infused with devotion. Even Mayavadis, they may grow naturally devotion through pantheistic practices, but their path is more troublesome and indirect. While a devotee Without the association of pure devotees, impersonalists cannot attain full spiritual realization. Only devotion can connect all yoga paths to Krishna. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita talks about the Ashtanga yoga system. The topmost is Bhakti yoga. So mystic paths like Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, they are all incomplete without a connection to Krishna. We know the Chatushkumaras. They became devotees only after they came in contact with Lord Narayan's Tulsi. Shukdev Goswami, initially he was a impersonalist, but transferred after hearing about Krishna and his activities. So when Harivilas Maharaj was talking on this particular shloka, his anecdote illustrates how misleading impersonalist sadhus can misuse spirituality without true bhakti. That is why we need to be very, very careful, extra careful if someone says that he has achieved the stage. Because with every stage, with every recognition, with every power, there also comes responsibility. Because then now it becomes easier for us to contact those and request them, maybe for a chanting session or a discourse or simply coming and having kirtan with all of us. So devotional attitude is essential for mystic success. And that is very, very important that we understand it and develop. Now, why? Because devotion connects all yoga paths to Krishna. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyan Yoga. Individually, they are incomplete without a connection to Krishna. So, what is important is to establish a relationship with Krishna. Because that is finally what is pure bhakti beyond philosophy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas from Shankara Sampradaya to teach all people, including impersonalists. And despite his vast knowledge, he humbly followed his guru's instructions to simply chant the holy name. His guru told him, "You are a fool, just chant Hare Krishna." And that is what he did. And that is where any devotee is able to go through the three stages of bhakti. Sambandha, wherein there is realization of relationship with Krishna. Abhideya, where we start acting in the relationship with Krishna. And Prayojan, where we attain the pure love of Krishna. So by strictly chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, you can traverse all the three stages and attain prema. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare Hare.
Ram Ram.
In the lecture, there is discussion on the benefits of chanting. So five benefits are mentioned. One is to obtain freedom from material existence. Two, one will be able to see the lotus feet of the Lord. Three, one can completely be liberated from conditioned existence. Four, one can directly engage in the service of the Lord. And fifthly, we can overcome all misconceptions and entanglements in the material world. So we should take up to this chanting process very, very seriously. It should become the lifeline of our life, the most important work ever to be done for that particular day. The holy name is the essence of all Vedic knowledge. Chanting Hare Krishna is the essence of scriptures, and this is the only dharma for Kali Yuga. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Eva Kevalam, Kalu nastyeva 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 gatiranyata. So we need not elaborate rituals or speculations. Chanting alone is fully sufficient. But then still we find worship, temple worship, and initiations because they help purify the heart quickly and maintain discipline. And that is where there can be ecstatic symptoms, power. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu experienced tears, dancing, laughing, madness in love of God just by chanting. And even in ecstasy, he remained humble and sought clarification from his guru. So these are the signs of power, the stage before prema, where one feels deep separation from Krishna. And this can be actually emphasized, understood under the guidance of a spiritual master. The spiritual master is overjoyed to see his disciple make real spiritual progress. So when chanting becomes offenseless, the disciple becomes eligible to guide others and become a Jagat Guru. So let us conclude. The holy name is not different from Krishna, so chanting it purely brings all success. Even those from an impersonal path can attain perfection only by coming into contact with pure devotees and taking to Bhakti Yoga. And thirdly, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life is the perfect example of how bhakti transcends all and how simply by chanting the holy name is the highest path. So let us follow the highest path and be successful in our lives. Thank you very much.